From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the news at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Ayotunde Balogun.
Hello and welcome tonight. Step up and intensify efforts at ending security challenge facing our country. That's President Tinubu's charge to the country's service chiefs when he met with them. Minister of Information and National Orientation Mohammed Idris attributes the recent drop in inflation figures to the government's strategic interventions in key sectors of the economy. One policeman is killed and 2 hoodlums neutralized as police repel an attack at a checkpoint in Isofia, Anambra State. And at least 100 persons are dead following a large-scale Israeli land, air and sea attack in North Gaza on Friday. On sports news tonight, Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola calls for his team to finish their horrific season on a positive note by lifting the English FA Cup tomorrow, Saturday.
And on business, federal government, states and local governments share 1.68 trillion naira federation revenue for April 2025.
Capital residents count their losses as heavy windstorm and rainfall in Katsina leave over 300 houses destroyed.
Intensify your efforts and address the security challenges confronting the country. That's coming from President Bola Tinubu to the nation's service chiefs at a meeting held at the State House in Abuja. The service chiefs, including the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, and the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, were led by the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa. Others in attendance are the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, and the Director General of the Department of State Services, Oluwatosin Ajayi. Now, speaking with journalists after the meeting, which took place in the State House, of course, the Chief of Defense Staff said the President also directed them to collaborate with neighboring countries for better synergy at the borders. While the security chiefs also called for the support of state governments and Nigerians to ensure peace reigns in the country.
Our meeting today is for us to review the entire security situation in the country. The President is concerned about what's going on, and we have reassured him that we're on top of our game. We're working extremely very hard. What has happened of recent is that there's a global push by terrorists and jihadists all over the Sahel. Came into Nigeria because of the nature of our borders, and so we have Mr. President has given directives as to what to do next for us to intensify all efforts, collaborate with all our sister countries around, because it is the porous nature that is coming there that is actually aggravating our own issues on ground. And so all our theaters have been enhanced, equipments have been bought. Mr. President has also given us much approvals for air assets and other aspects of security. And like we said, it's not only the kinetic effort, the non-kinetic aspects that is most important. The President is also looking at the aspects of also discussing with governors for their own support, buy-in in ensuring that dividends of democracy also extends to the communities to be able to stamp down the issue of insecurity. And we're working together. You can see that we're together with the National Security Advisor, the NSA, the DGDSS, and all other ones. So we're working together as a team. And you can see us here, members of the armed forces, working in unity, including the police, to make sure that Nigeria is peaceful. And that is our mandate, and that will work towards. We want to appeal to all Nigerians not to get tired, and they should be wary of fake news. There's a lot of fake news that has been spread out, making it look, most of the videos being circulated are videos from other countries or old videos, making it look as if it is soon. And you know, you always want to wonder, why do some individuals feel happy when things go bad in their country? If Nigeria is destroyed, all of us will go down. And so it is important that we all cooperate with members of the armed forces and security agencies. If we see something that is going wrong anywhere in the country, let us report. Action will be taken, including our own personnel.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has pledged his administration's continued support to the Nigerian Air Force and other security agencies in the country in the area of fleet modernization, training, and their welfare. He made the pledge at the induction ceremony of 2 Tracker helicopters into the Nigerian Air Force held in Abuja. Represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, the president also says his government will invest more in defense technologies. Our status correspondent, Emperor Simon, reports.
The arrival of Vice President Kashim Shettima at the Presidential Air Fleet hangar of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, signals the commencement of the event for the induction of the 2 newly acquired 109S Tracker helicopters into the Nigerian Air Force, which also coincides with its 61st anniversary. Twin multi-engine aircraft, according to NAF, are designed to operate in challenging environments, providing critical support to both military and civil operations, including disaster relief and humanitarian missions.
It is noteworthy that from 2024 to date, Nigerian Air Force has received a total of 9 brand new aircraft into its inventory. In line with Mr. President's firm commitment towards Nigeria's security, Nigerian Air Force is poised to receive 49 more aircraft within the next 2 years.
Necessary papers are signed by the leadership of the Nigerian Air Force and the suppliers to mark the official handing over of the 2 aircraft.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir.
With the deal sealed, Vice President Kashim Shettima, who is representing President Bola Tinubu, leads other guests to induct the 2 helicopters. The president believes the acquisition of the air assets demonstrates its administration's resolve to strengthen the armed forces, defend the nation, and reinforce Nigeria's leadership role in Africa.
My administration will continue to support the Nigerian Air Force and indeed other security agencies by giving due attention and priority to fleet modernization, as well as training and welfare of our men and women in uniform. As your Commander-in-Chief, I understand that a well-equipped military is essential not only for securing our nation, but also for preserving our democracy.
Those words of assurance delivered by the Vice President on behalf of the President are considered morale boosters for the Nigerian Air Force and partners who presented gifts to show their appreciation.
The military's acquisition of helicopters comes amid growing insecurity with the goal of improving its operational capacity. Nonetheless, Nigerians are more eager for peace and an end to the senseless killings plaguing many parts of the country. From the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, Emperor Simon, Channels Television News.
In Anambra, the State Commissioner of Police, Ikoye Orutugu, has given an assurance that the perpetrators of an attack on a security checkpoint at the Sofia on Thursday night will be apprehended. A statement by the Anambra Police Command says one of the Anambra Joint Security Team resisted the attack by the armed criminals, killing 2 of them in the process. However, one of the security operatives was fatally wounded while resisting the attack. The security operational vehicles were burnt by the assailants before fleeing the scene. The statement further states that the CP views the act as a test of the collective resolve of the citizens of the state working with security forces to dislodge the criminal elements. Commerce have returned to the area with security reinforced and more armed operatives currently combing nearby bushes for possible arrest of the fleeing miscreants. Now, this may come as a rather cheery news for economic analysts and observers. The federal government says the recent drop in the country's inflation is as a result of government's interventions in critical sectors of the economy. This was disclosed by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mr. Mohammed Idris, during the 8th edition of the 2025 Ministerial Press Briefing Series held in Abuja. 3 ministers, Dave Umahi of Works, Professor Joseph Yutsef of Water Resources, and Hanatu Musawa of Arts, Culture and Creative Economy, also gave their scorecards at the event. Our correspondent, Benny Ark, reports.
The
The 8th edition of the federal government's ministerial briefing is featuring 3 ministries: the Ministry of Works, Ministry of Creative Economy, and the Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation.
I greet you this morning.
The Minister of Information and National Orientation frames the conversation and made a disclosure on the current state of the economy while debunking a story making the news.
The headline inflation rate for April stood at 23.71%, This represents a decrease of 0.52% from the 24.23% recorded in March. Those who think that the ministry or the ministers are actually going outside the country to host or to have these press briefings, this is your answer to it. We have our responsibility first to the Nigerian nation, and that is why we invite these ministers to come here and address Nigerians and those outside this country directly. Honorable Minister, His Excellency Dave Umahi to come.
The Minister of Works, Mr. Dave Umahi, takes the lead, highlighting some achievements of the ministry, particularly on inherited projects from previous administration and those completed.
We have started new projects under his administration, totaling about 65, and that is major projects. And we also have started 4 legacy projects under him. And of course, we have completed 260 palliative projects totaling 208 billion.
It is now the turn of the Minister of Arts, Culture, Tourism and Creative Economy.
Good morning.
She highlights the progress made in the revitalization of the national policy on culture and property rights protection.
In just 18 months, we have secured over $300 million in investment commitments and established innovative funding mechanisms like the Creative Economy Development Fund, and we have created infrastructure that will generate at least 2 million jobs, and we have elevated Nigeria's global cultural standing while all encouraging rural communities, women and youth to participate meaningfully in the creative economy.
Junior Professor Joseph.
Rounding off the session, the Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation speaks on the ongoing water projects across the country and those already completed.
We have actually successfully completed 3 dams, and we have commissioned them, and as we are talking now, we have made them available for usage for the residents. One of them is the Rafin Yashim Multipurpose Dam in Niger State, which has seen the commission in November 2023, and is supplying about 3,700 cubic meters of water for irrigation, water supply, and flood control.
With President Bola Tinubu's administration now in its 2nd year, the ministerial media briefing session provides a platform for ministers to transparently and honestly report on their stewardship and achievements to the Nigerian people. Benny Ark, Channels Television News.
In part 2, after the break, women groups in River State pray for lasting peace to the political crisis confronting the state. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 and Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Step up and intensify efforts at ending security challenge facing our country. That's President Bola Tinubu's charge to the country's service chiefs when he met with them. Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, attributes the recent drop in inflation figures to the government's strategic interventions in key sectors of the economy. 1 policeman is killed and 2 hoodlums neutralized as police repel an attack at a checkpoint in Isofia, Anambra State. And at least 100 persons are dead following a large-scale Israeli land, air and sea attack in North Gaza on Friday. Now, we all know the risks hypertension poses to people globally, causing health issues like heart disease and stroke, all due to high blood pressure. Here in the country, staff of the National Orientation Agency, NOA, are leading a campaign to raise awareness for the screening and management of hypertension as Nigeria joins the international community to mark the World Hypertension Day at an event in Abuja. Our correspondent, Sarah Achimugu, reports.
This meeting, organized by the National Orientation Agency, is part of activities to mark the 2025 World Hypertension Day, which holds annually on the 17th of May. The theme for the year is Measure Your Blood Pressure Accurately, Control It, Live Longer. Officers of the agency are not leaving anything to chance as they plan to focus on sensitization to reduce the number, which currently stands at 1.3 billion globally. According to the 2023 report by the National Institute of Health, an estimated 28 million people in Nigeria are hypertensive.
To flag up our national campaign that we are going to take to the nook and crannies of this country for the importance of reduction in salt taking. A lot of Nigerians are taking salt, excess salt. It is documented that we don't need more than 2 grams of salt per day. We find out that Nigeria consumes about 3.9 grams every day, which is very high.
There are methods to ensuring better management of hypertension, and they include regular monitoring of blood pressure, consumption of low salt, high fiber diet, 30 minutes daily exercise, and near abstinence from alcohol and tobacco consumption. Nigerians are advised to adhere to these rules to manage the condition.
The campaign is part of our broader commitment under the Clean Communities Initiative to tackling root causes of social ills and promoting behaviors that build stronger, healthier communities.
Let your health guide your taste. Let me quote it correctly, because this is a medium of transfer. So the slogan for this campaign is let your health guide your taste. Because we have been used to some of these habits, but by the time we have this understanding and healthy choice in our consumption.
Outside the hall, a screening session for blood pressure, blood sugar, and hepatitis B is organized for Nigerians as the organizers promise to replicate same across the Federation for better management of hypertension. Sarah Chimugu, Channels Television News.
In Rivers, a group of women have called for a permanent and lasting peace in the state amidst the ongoing state of emergency there. The women, under the aegis Rivers Women Unite for SIM, made the call during a prayer service at the Ecumenical Center in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital, saying they are not happy with the situation of things right now and they want Rivers State to move forward. Our correspondent Charles Oporum reports.
The political situation in Rivers State is once again the center of attention as the Rivers Women Unite for SIM group are holding a religious service at the Ecumenical Center in Port Harcourt. Dressed in white and blue headgears, the women pray for a return to peace for their dear state. A message echoed loud and clear by the church banner which reads, "O Lord, unite Rivers State and all her people in peace, harmony and love," as they pray for the suspended governor. Speaking on the sidelines of the event, some of the women expressed concern over the situation.
We want our governors, our commissioners, our chairmen, all those that have made this River State to have peace before. We want this peace to return again. Make our father, bring our governor back to us so that he will give us the enjoyment where we see, where make we vote for sin. We need peace.
Others go spiritual, seeking for divine intervention in the state.
I'm here because
I believe so much in the power of prayer. And when women pray, things happen. And that's why I'm here to join the women, to lift up our voices to the Almighty God, with whom all things are possible, so that that peace we desire for our state will become a reality.
The real thing that brought me here is to pray for peace to reign in Nigeria. More especially, our governor, Simlai, is so innocent.
This exercise highlights the changing mood in the state as the women clamor for the return of their governor. With a little over 2 months gone since the state of emergency declaration, it's still unclear what the future holds for the state and its residents. Charles Oporum, Channels Television News.
So let's head to the nation's capital now, and Millicent Walker is standing by to give us the latest from our Abuja studios. Hello, Millicent. Over to you.
Hi, Ayatunde. Many thanks. What a week, some would say. Well, we begin with some news, worrying, albeit, from Katsina State, where at least 300 houses were destroyed and property worth millions of naira lost following a heavy windstorm and downpour in the affected communities. The incident, which lasted for about 15 minutes Wednesday evening, rendered many residents of the community homeless.
This is the first rain in Katsina State for the year, and it comes with destruction in its wake. Several houses were destroyed and properties worth millions of naira were lost following the windstorm that came with the rainfall. Those affected by the disaster appeal to the government to assist them in the view of the economic situation in the country.
During the incident, I was just sitting inside the room, and I eventually noticed that the only room I have was completely down, resulting to dislocation of my leg and hand bone crack. Thank God all my children were at Islamia school then. We seek divine and government interventions because I struggled hard and used all my property to raise this destroyed single room.
We are calling on our good government to look into our critical condition, to assist us. Although we have received this destiny in good faith, as I am speaking, we do not have where our families will be heading to.
The ward head of one of the affected communities wants the State Emergency Management Agency to assess the situation and assist the victims.
It was a heavy windstorm accompanied by rain, which within 15 minutes, several houses were completely destroyed. We are calling on the government and well-to-do individuals to please come to our aid in this community. Otherwise, many house occupants will become homeless. We are indeed in dire need of support. Please, we want the state governor, Malam Diko Umar Rada, if he comes across this request, to please send a delegation to assess the level of damage here in our community.
Some of the affected areas include Sabuwa, Unguwa, Modoji Gabas, Shinkafi and Kuka Gesa areas, as well as Ambassador Quarters and some parts of Jibia local government area, amongst others.
Away from Katsina State, it's been a week filled with activities marking Governor Dauda Lawal's second anniversary in office, and today is no different as he commissioned the newly renovated and re-equipped Phase 1 of the General Hospital in Gusau, the state capital. The project, according to the governor, is part of his administration's ongoing effort to revamp the healthcare sector across the state.
It's day 4 of week-long events to mark Governor Dauda Lawal's second year in office.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen.
At the General Hospital in Gusau, the governor arrived to commission Phase 1 of the facility, which has undergone significant renovation and re-equipping.
May I invite
the State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Nafisa Maradu, in a welcome address outlined key improvements, including the acquisition of modern medical equipment and upgrades to key hospital units.
Part of the renovation work done to this facility include total renovation and equipping of maternity complex, accident and emergency, general outpatient department, amenity ward, theater, gynae ward, orthopedic ward, and laboratory. I want to use this opportunity and extend my heartfelt gratitude to His Excellency for all the investment in the health sector.
In his remarks, Governor Dauda Lawal recounted the poor state of health facilities his administration inherited and reiterated his resolve to improve the health sector for the benefit of all Zamfara residents.
Our administration, driven by core pillars of the rescue agenda, immediately initiated a comprehensive need assessment across all the general hospitals in Zamfara. Needless to say this, the report was shocking and quite unsettling. For example, in a state of about 6 million people, with all the challenges that are abound, there was only one ultrasound machine. I immediately declared a state of emergency in the health sector with the objective of restoring infrastructure, equipping our hospitals, provision, motivation, training, retraining, and all healthcare professionals, among others.
The governor proceeds to commission the project and took a tour of the renovated sections of the hospital, including outpatient units and administrative offices.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency.
Addressing journalists after the inspection, Governor Lawal expresses his satisfaction with the quality of work and assures that the newly upgraded facilities will significantly enhance healthcare delivery across Zamfara state.
The driving factor is humanity. If you see the condition of this hospital before now is an eyesore, and this applied all the hospitals in Zamfara state, which led to the declaration of emergency in the health sector, just like we did in the area of education.
With this development, the Gusau General Hospital joins the list of health facilities being revitalized under the current administration, bringing hope for improved healthcare access and services across Zamfara state.
Still ahead on the news at 10, federal, state and local governments share 1.68 trillion naira from the Federation account for the month of April. That's on Business News. Do join us again. You're watching the news at 10, coming to you live from Abuja studios. Now more on infrastructure development, this time in the Federal Capital Territory, where the Minister, Nyesom Wike, says over 60 schools have been renovated and furnished under his administration as part of efforts to prioritize the education sector. Mr. Wike was speaking during an inspection of ongoing road construction projects in Gwagwalada and Kwali Area Council. Speaking on the importance of road construction, the Minister assured residents of the FCT that his administration is not just focusing on roads, but will impact every sector.
The schools we have done were renovated and furnished. It's more than 60 schools, But I can tell you, no sector will be left abandoned. Every sector will be focused on. But again, the road network is what brings development. When there are no roads, which school will you go to? When there are no roads, whose hospital will you go to? So first of all, the key thing that drives development is road network all over the world. Now, if you're talking about agriculture, how do you go and bring your produce when there's no road? So those who are farming here now, they will be happy that we look at road. We cannot take our produce to the city, to the market to sell. So, and this again, fighting security is key. When people commit offense and there are no road to trace them, it becomes a problem. But if you see this kind of road with street lights, obviously you have to think twice before you commit any offense.
And that's it from the nation's capital. Ayotunde, it's back to you.
Many thanks, Millicent. Indeed, it's been a busy day for President Bola Tinubu, who not only met with the service chiefs today, but also stated his belief that traditional institutions remain integral to the country's development and has called for more support in implementing policies that directly impact our people's livelihoods. Now, the president was speaking when he received the 46th Alaafin of Oyo, Oba Abimbola Owade I, and a delegation of other traditional rulers from Oyo State at the presidential villa in Abuja. President Tinubu congratulated the Alaafin for his ascendancy to the historic throne, assuring the royal father of his prayers and support.
The convoy of the 46th Alaafin of Oyo, Oba Abimbola Owode I, and the delegation of other traditional rulers from Oyo State arriving at the presidential villa. They are led in for a private meeting with President Bola Tinubu. Some ministers and aides of the president are also present. The Alaafin thanked the president for granting them audience while commending him for his bold economic reforms, youth empowerment, improvement in security, and investments in agriculture.
Nigeria looks to you not wholly for leadership, but for restoration, for a new vision rooted in justice, equity, and inclusive progress. It is in that spirit that I come today, not only to pay homage, but to seek your collaboration. Oyo is ready, Yoruba in its entirety, we are ready, and all Nigerians are ready.
In response, President Tinubu congratulated the Alaafin for his ascendancy to the historic throne, assuring the royal father of his prayers and support.
You'll be the first Alaafin to be here. This inherited tradition is the making of gold. Your ascendancy to the throne, like my being a president, is a divine will of God Almighty.
The President assured his guests that his administration will continue working with traditional institutions to implement policies to protect and prosper citizens.
The culture, peace, and stability of our nation require inclusiveness. This job is not one that one can do alone. We have to pull together to build a nation. We've given priority to education, Medicare, and a part of a private discussion that I had in the office with you is part of a need for upliftment of education and the cultural value of this country. I'm there with you. The doors are open.
The President also called for more support in implementing policies that directly impact people's livelihoods. From the presidential villa, Lanre Lasisi, Channels Television News.
Dyna AI has officially launched its operations in the country with the Nigeria Dyna Day event, marking a key moment for the financial industry. As artificial intelligence continues to reshape finance worldwide, Dyna AI says it aims to enhance efficiency, improve service delivery, and expand financial inclusion across Nigeria and across Africa.
The Nigeria Dyna Day launch brings together fintech experts, banking executives, government officials, and many others to explore how AI will shape Nigeria's digital economy. The leadership at Dyna AI says this is a bold step aimed at closing systemic gaps, boosting efficiency, and driving financial inclusion through artificial intelligence.
We are expertise mostly to serve the customers in finance industry. However, in this year, we are making that, let's say, step outside of the comfort zone. And comfort zone, I mean, because like many of the people from the company you would see are coming from the financial environment. But we are making steps out of that, comfort zone, and we are going also to the telcos and also trying to serve the call centers, which are serving other type of customers than the finance customers of finance industries.
AI is quickly becoming part of Nigeria's financial system, and Dyna AI says it's here to speed up that change and open up new opportunities. And the government says it's ready to be a part of this.
I see a lot of potential and possibilities of collaboration between the government and this company. So we have to see how AI can work perfectly.
The event also features a panel session with fintech leaders, bankers and policymakers, all discussing the potentials of AI, the challenges and the road ahead for Nigeria's digital economy. Strategic partnerships were also unveiled as Dyna AI signed MOUs with Pampay, Intermark Consulting and Cyberspace.
We always care about how our users feel, and this is what led to the signing of this agreement today, because if you notice in the world today, most of the businesses, not just fintechs, not just financial institutions, are being driven by AI.
Our target market range from commercial banks, microfinance banks, travels, insurance, wealth management, healthcare. So it's a broad range. It cuts across the various spectrum of public and private enterprises. So, like I said, so that's the focus, and it makes it easy for banks and all these target markets to easily onboard their customers. It reduces complaints because these agents are timely, they are trained, they're well trained, they're smart, and they respond smartly and promptly.
I hope we will be the #1 in Nigerian market. We will be kind of having at least 3-4 big banks as our customers, and then another like 10-20 smaller finance institutions being our customer. That will be perfect.
Dyna AI is a leading artificial intelligence technology service company dedicated to, among other things, leveraging cutting-edge AI techniques to foster business digitalization and intelligence for a wide range of institutions.
Business News is up next with Will Ibong.
Thank you, Ayotunde. Now, a total of 1.681 trillion naira has been shared among the federal government, states and local government councils as revenue for April, according to the Federation Account Allocation Committee, FAC. The federal government received 565.3 billion naira, states got 556.7 billion naira, and local governments received 406.6 billion naira, while the sum of 152.55 billion naira was shared to the benefiting states as derivation revenue. FAC notes significant increases in petroleum profit tax, oil and gas royalties, and VAT collections, while companies' income tax saw a notable decline in April. Nigeria's external reserves rose by $364 million between April the 30th and May the 14th, marking the first sustained increase this year after months of decline. The central bank credits this rise to FX market reforms, better reserve management, and higher oil revenues. Controls on foreign exchange misuse have also helped. CBN Governor Yemi Cardoso says the gains reflect deliberate policies for stability. The bank expects reserves to keep growing, supporting the naira and Nigeria's economy. Now, outside our shores, U.S. consumer confidence dropped sharply to 50.8 points in May, the second lowest on record as inflation fears grew following new tariffs, a University of Michigan survey shows. Short-term inflation expectations surged to 7.3%, while long-term expectations rose to 4.6%. According to the survey, tariffs with uncertainty over trade policy weighed heavily on the outlook. Now, Microsoft has agreed to sell Office and Microsoft 365 without Teams in Europe, aiming to ease antitrust concerns and avoid a fine. The tech giant will offer lower prices, let customers remove Teams from contracts, and improve compatibility with rival apps. The EU began probing Microsoft after Slack's complaint. Regulators say they will review the new proposal before deciding further action. And back home, the domestic equities market ends the final trading day of the week in positive territory despite losses in the oil and gas sector. Inijan Mekwa tells us more.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Stock Market Report. Well, the week started on a slow note, but we are ending high. 153 billion naira has been gained and added to the market cap, and we're at 68.5 0.953 trillion naira. That looks close to 69 trillion naira. The Osha index is in the green, 0.22%, still aiming towards the 110 level. We want to hit that record. Now we look at the sectors to get more details of this. Banking is up today 0.44% because Access Co, they gained. First Holdco also gained, and so we have that at 0.44. Consumer goods is also green. The consumer goods counter has been doing well. Champion Breweries, Flour Mill, Honeywell Flour, they drove that. Oil and gas is, however, on the flip side, 0.09% in the red. Profit taking on O&O mostly led to this. Look at the top trades for today. Expectedly, we have the financials leading it from Access Co to GT Co. They drove the market, and then ICO also joined in. So it's a good way to end the week because we have the bull winning.
Thank you, Ini. Let's see the performance of other major global markets now. And that's business news. It's back to Ayotune for the rest of the news at 10.
Many thanks, Will. No fewer than 23 farmers and fishermen have been reported killed in an attack by the Islamic State of West Africa province, ISWAP, in Malam Karanti village near Baga in Kukawa local government area of Borno State. Now, sources say the terrorists gathered farmers and fishermen near the village and killed 23 of them. Now, the terrorists spared an elderly man who later alerted the community, and most of the victims were beans farmers. The first direct peace talks between officials from Ukraine and Russia have ended in a deadlock in Istanbul with no signs of a major breakthrough on a ceasefire but a prisoner swap. According to a Ukrainian source, the Russian delegation demanded that Kiev gave up land under its control. The meeting, which lasted for less than 2 hours, had notably absent the Russian President Vladimir Putin, his Ukrainian counterpart Volodymyr Zelensky, and US President Donald Trump. From our London studios, here's Simon Pusey with Around the World in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. A senior Hamas official has confirmed the militant group is in direct talks with the United States over peace in Gaza, adding that it believes Donald Trump can help broker a deal. Dr. Bassem Naim said Hamas had shared its proposed agreement both through mediators and directly with some persons in the US administration. He said they are calling for a prisoner exchange, total withdrawal of Israeli forces, allowing all the aid to get into Gaza and rebuilding the Gaza Strip without forceful immigration.
We are ready to hand over all the prisoners immediately if we can be sure that this will lead to an end of this war, and first and foremost to allow the humanitarian aid to get into Gaza. If these two conditions are fulfilled, again, to allow aid to get into Gaza and to reach an end, to guarantee an end of this war.
Meanwhile, the United Nations has said it will not take part in a US-backed humanitarian operation in Gaza because it is not impartial, neutral or independent, while Israel pledged to facilitate the effort without being involved in aid deliveries. The US-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation will start work in Gaza by the end of May under a heavily criticised aid plan that the UN aid chief Tom Fletcher described as a fig leaf for further violence and displacement of Palestinians in Gaza. The owner and crew of a luxury super yacht that sank off the coast of Sicily, killing tech entrepreneur Mike Lynch and 6 others, were unaware wind speeds of over 73 miles per hour could tip it over. That's according to an interim report. The UK's Marine Accident Investigation Branch, leading the international investigation, said winds of over 80 miles per hour violently hit the vessel, causing it to flood within seconds. Brazilian authorities say they are investigating river contamination levels after a truck accident caused a chemical dye spill in Sao Paulo. The leak occurred after a vehicle carrying containers of a blue dye solution collided with a pole, causing the product to spill into a manhole connected to the Jundai River. City officials say they are acting to rescue and save lives of the affected animals. The dye is an organic chemical based on acetic acid used in styrofoam boxes and egg cartons. The US singer Chris Brown has been arrested in the UK in connection with a bottle attack at a nightclub in 2023. Brown was arrested at a hotel in Manchester and held on suspicion of causing grievous bodily harm to a music producer at the Tape nightclub in Mayfair. A manuscript once considered an unofficial copy of the Magna Carta is now believed to be a genuine version and one of the world's most valuable documents. Harvard Law School paid $27.50 for it in 1946, and for years it has remained tucked away in its library. But two medieval history professors have concluded it is an extraordinarily rare and lost original Magna Carta from 1300, in the reign of King Edward I, that could be worth millions. And spectators could fly through the Los Angeles skies and escape the city's notorious traffic during the 2028 Olympic Games if organisers have their way. LA28, the committee charged with planning the city's third Summer Games, have announced a partnership with Archer Aviation to provide an air taxi service during the Olympic and Paralympic Games. Flying taxis have been a long-standing dream. They were planned to debut in the Paris Games in 2024, but were not certified by Europe's Air Safety Agency in time. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.
Many thanks, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. Manchester City boss Pep Guardiola has called for his team to finish their horrific season on a positive note by lifting the English FA Cup. Man City faced Crystal Palace at Wembley in the final on Saturday, marking their final opportunity to secure silverware in the 2024-25 campaign. The City suffered exits in both the Carabao Cup and Champions League before slipping to 4th in the Premier League, 18 points behind champions Liverpool. But Guardiola insists all of the club's focus was fixed on lifting a trophy in their third consecutive FA Cup final.
Fantastic team. So made a good season, already the second part of the season. So long time already, more than a month and year with Oliver, working with the same players. So it's a final FA Cup. It's an honor, privilege. So 3 times in a row, being there, and of course we had to perform well. And we traveled to London, to win the title.
Meanwhile, Crystal Palace manager Oliver Glasner believes winning Saturday's FA Cup final will mean more to his club than their Wembley opponents, Manchester City. Crystal Palace have never won major silverware in their history. Well, the South London club have twice lost the FA Cup final against Manchester United in 1990 and in 2016. Glasner knows Man City are desperate to avoid the first season without silverware since 2016-17 season, but the 50-year-old Austrian claims victory would be sweet for the Eagles.
It means more to you than when you have it every single year. City, I don't know, under Pep, how many trophies they've won, how many finals they have played. So definitely more than Crystal Palace has. But I think still, for the players, for the manager, for a club, is winning a trophy, winning a title is always something great in a season. So I don't expect that they will wave with the white flag and then say, okay, it's the first title for Crystal Palace. You should get it. So I think they will fight for winning it.
FC Barcelona and thousands of fans have celebrated the Blaugrana's 28th league title with an open-top bus parade through the streets of the Catalan capital. The parade covered a 6.8-kilometer route from Camp Nou to Numancia and Catalonia. Barcelona sealed the league title on Thursday with a victory at the home of local rivals Espanyol. Hansi Flick's first season in charge has brought the club their 28th Spanish La Liga trophy, the Copa del Rey and the Spanish Super Cup, making it a domestic treble. And the main news again. President Bola Tinubu today charged the nation's service chiefs to step up and intensify efforts at ending security challenges facing the country. Well, the president gave the charge when he met with the service chiefs and other security chiefs at the presidential villa. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. You have a good night.